Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop, brought to you by Red Raider Outfitter, the fans' favorite since 1975. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Well, mighty Joe, I got to say, I know spring is kind of a dangerous season here in Lubbock, but man, it's beautiful today. You know, it's not, I mean, yeah, there's wind, but it's not, there's no haboob, blue skies, sun is shining. It's really beautiful here.
Yeah, I know. And well, hey, in my neck of the woods, we got a hailstorm on Easter.
Yeah,
that was interesting. That got your place too?
Yeah.
So that was a completely new experience for me. I mean, Easter egg size hailstones out there. So talk about your Easter egg hunt directly from the man upstairs. It was interesting.
Well, that'd be fun actually as a kid. You know what I mean? As an adult, you're like, get out, you idiot, get out of the hill. But as a kid, I mean, it'd be fun, I guess, till you got pelted. You know?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, Jared, you might like to get belted a few times. Who knows? I mean, yeah.
You know, I'm not opposed to it. Yeah, I do have the 5 hit for it for sure. But
we're target.
Indeed, big target. But we're outside the USA here, and look, there's been enough side talk, air fryers, this, that, in the Portal Combat thread. The fans want info. They want our analysis. They want Mighty Joe to weigh in on the Grant McCaslin era in its infancy. I really like that story about Darian Williams, how you kind of calling people out, because I feel the same way. Like, relax. He just started. I think there's some actual positive signs to the Grant McCaslin era, and I feel like people are being, like, even for a fan base, even for college fan base, diehards, unrealistically negative, to be honest, my Joe.
Yeah, it beats all. Just a heck of a lot of panic and a lot of I want my gratification right now. I want an all-American roster put into place immediately, and it's not realistic. I mean, the K-State roster that went to the Elite Eight last year was not finalized until June. And he lost. I mean, the entire roster just vanished, and I didn't see any replacements there for a long time. And I was wondering, man, like, is K-State even going to be able to field a team this year?
Right.
And then late during the portal period, some guys started leaking back into that system, but nobody really thought much of it.
Yeah.
They were predicted to finish last in the Big 12, and, well, we know what happened. So, I mean, this can take some time, particularly when you got a brand new coach. God knows what all he's got on his plate right now. So this is just going to take some time, and then Tech's roster, the final piece or two may not come into place until June.
Right.
So just, settle down, relax, take a pill if you have to, take a bottle of whiskey and pour it down your throat, whatever you have to do to get through it. But come June, we'll see what it looks like, and then we'll have a better idea.
It's our advice to you is to start drinking heavily. But no, seriously, a lot's been made of Darian Williams committing, and I think that's huge. It is. It was freshman of the year in the WAC. I really liked your breakdown of what Darian Williams did in Nevada and what he could bring to Texas Tech. But also, look, man, Robert Jennings joining back, I think, was huge too. That guy showed potential in his first season. They need size. They need some guys who at least have some experience at the Power 5 level to play on the interior. So I think those two additions are key. And then, of course, Chance McMillan too has also visited, and so we'll have to see what happens with him.
Yeah, that's right. And, with Robert Jennings, keep in mind as well, Pop Isaacs and Lamar Washington, as of right now, It looks like they're sticking around. So you got a core of those three guys that were freshmen last year. Yeah. And, who knows, it would be great for those guys to play their entire careers here. But it's, it seems like it's an exceedingly rare thing these days. But nevertheless, you got three guys who at least played together a great deal. They are maturing and developing as players together. And that does pay dividends on the court. That helps. Those guys should form a core that meshes a little bit. Then on top of that, you got Damarian Williams. Looks like he's coming back. He's a spot player, but he's a guy that occasionally would give you something. He had flashes last year of times, hit some big shots for the Red Raiders, but, I mean, a lot of times was just not much of a factor. But nevertheless, that's another guy who's coming back. who's played with Pop and those other guys. So this is a good little core to form there. And then you just fill in with all these other guys. And, of course, Darian Williams is a great start in that regard.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you look at Jalen Tyson joining the portal. It looks like he's gone. You know, he showed a lot at times. He's a very talented player. But, and we like to call it like we see it, I think it is a big loss. But I don't think, on a previous video, I think the last video, I said, look, if you lose all these guys and you start over, who cares? You know, it's a new coach. You know, none of these guys are Akeem Olajuwon or Michael Jordan or anything like that, or even a Kevin McCullough or Terrence Shannon, to be quite honest. Those were huge losses. I think Jalen Tyson's a big loss, but it's not some devastating thing. What are your thoughts on Tyson probably not coming back next year?
It's not the end of the world, and I mean, if you look at a situation of replacement, Darian Williams could be seen easily as the replacement for Jalen Tyson. You know, and the fact, this is speculation on my part, but it could be a case where Grant McCaslin decided that he would prefer to have Darian Williams to Jalen Tyson, and he, in whatever way, sort of hinted around at that to Jalen Tyson, and that had something to do, or maybe a lot to do, with why he entered the portal. You know, and so, I mean, I think you look at those two guys, and Tyson probably has more upside than Darian Williams. I think Darian Williams is a more multifaceted player who's more polished at this stage of the game, will probably help you more immediately next year than Tyson would have returning. It'd be nice to have both of those guys.
Sure.
But again, yeah, like you said, this is not some kill shot to the program or anything.
I think the biggest difference for me is between those two players is the turnover ratio.
Oh, yeah.
That really stuck out. I didn't know that until your article. The 3-to-1 as a freshman, that's huge considering how many assists he's getting too, compared to Jalen Tyson, who, look, good player, but we said this while he was here, could be a turnover machine at times.
Yeah, he could, and he was. And like a lot of those guys on that team last year were turnover machines.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I mean, Jalen Tyson, and I don't want to just rag on the guy or anything, but, and again, like some of the other players as well, just simply got lost on defense way too much, showed disinterest apparently on that end of the court. Now, there were times when he was dialed in on defense, and he, particularly when they started running a little bit of sort of zone pressure and putting him out at the top of the press.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
You know, I mean, he's what triggered that comeback against Iowa State. I mean, he made that steal and went in and threw down the dunk, and that's when it all started caving in for Iowa State. So he has the potential to be a very good defensive player, but he's got to commit to it to wherever he's playing, and he's got to do it all the time. He's got to remain focused, and focus was not his strong suit last year.
I think the most impressive aspect of Jalen Tyson that Tech might miss is his ability as a rebounder from his position. I mean, at times he was a double-digit rebounder in Big 12 games, you know, and that had been a problem for Tech at times last year. So that, you know, they are losing that in him, and that also showed a willingness to do the dirty work. So I think, as is in most cases, to just say, oh, he's a cancer, or he's a bad player, or he didn't try hard, or he's a great player and this is gonna just, you know, kill the program next season. I think both of those are wrong. It's somewhere in between. Good player, good upside, but Tech will be fine moving forward. They already have a replacement. In terms of the coaching staff, you know, I really like the McCaslin brought over a couple of guys from UNT, guys he knows, guys he trusts, good recruiters. Our own Austin Matthews reported those guys are really good recruiters. And then there's at least one, you know, full-time assistant coach position left. And with the new rules, I'm not sure exactly how it all shakes out. Will there be a couple more? But Bill McCullum is still being mentioned. Austin reported on the board that he's still in play. Just potentially, what kind of hire would that be, Monty Joe?
Yeah, I mean, it's been well documented, the success that he had at the D2 level. There have been reports, I think pretty substantial reports, that he has been offered head coaching jobs like at the University of Buffalo, for instance. And so clearly a talented guy, a coach on the make, who's going to make his move upward one way or the other. The opportunity is going to come for him. And so, you know, coaching is just like players, you know. I mean, you want the most talented guys pretty much that you can get. He's a talented coach. So if you could bring him on board, that would be great. It's taken a long time, that's for sure. And, you know, of course, Barrett Peary has been mentioned in that context as well. very good recruiter, an talent evaluator himself.
Yeah.
Particularly has a lot of connections in the western part of the country, which is where Tech seems to be kind of focusing on a lot lately. These guys coming out of Las Vegas, for instance.
Right.
Darian Williams played his high school ball in Las Vegas. So,
Pop.
And Pop, of course. So, I think either of those guys could both do a great job there. And who's not to say that there could be some bolt from the blue that we don't know about yet that may get hired.
Yep. So overall message, at least for me, is relax. Tech basketball isn't. They're not even really struggling, in my opinion. I think there's some really positive things going on. I really like, the couple additions. Like I said, I mean, Jennings coming back, Pop Senior's coming back for year 2, and then of course Darian Williams, and then Chance McMillan. There's some other guys that Tech is targeting. I would say I'm actually optimistic, and we try and tell it like it, at least how we see it. So I would say relax, right, Mighty Joe?
Yeah. I mean, struggling. I tell you what. Next season, when Texas Tech loses 9 straight games, then bring me the crying towel. Right. All right, but until then, let's just chill out a little bit and let's see how it plays out.
I agree. Wise words from the Mighty Joe as usual. Really appreciate it, Mighty Joe. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.